Title: Why Evolution Ruined Your Jaw. The Wisdom Teeth Glitch. About 25% of people are born without any wisdom teeth at all. The rest of us either get them removed, suffer through their eruption, or quietly carry impacted teeth that never fully emerge because there is simply no room. This is not a dental quirk, it is a fossil, a physical record of the mismatch between the jaw your genes planned to build and the jaw your environment actually produced. And the story of how that mismatch happened is a story about what cooking, farming, and processed food have done to the architecture of the human face in just a few thousand years. The third molar, the wisdom tooth, is not a mistake of design for most of human evolutionary history. It was an essential piece of equipment. Early members of the genus Homo ate diets that required serious chewing. Raw tubers, fibrous roots, dried seeds, tough game, and plant material that had not been softened by cooking demanded large, powerful jaws with broad grinding surfaces. The third molar was the rearmost component of that grinding system. It erupted in the late teens and early 20s, long after the jaw had finished its childhood growth, and slotted in as a replacement for teeth worn down by decades of heavy use. In a jaw built for that diet, it fit. There was room. The jaw is not merely a genetic product, it is a developmental one. The bones of the face and jaw grow in response to mechanical signals, the forces generated by chewing during childhood and adolescence. When a child chews tough, hard, fibrous food, the repeated stress on the jaw stimulates bone growth and jaw expansion. The jaw develops to a size that can accommodate the teeth the genetic blueprint specifies. When a child grows up on soft food, porridge, bread, cooked vegetables, processed modern foods, those mechanical signals are reduced. The jaw grows, but it does not grow to its full genetically programmed size. The teeth still arrive on schedule, in the sizes the blueprint specified, but the jaw that was supposed to accommodate them is smaller than it should be. The result is crowding, and crowding, in the case of the wisdom teeth, means impaction. The tooth cannot fully emerge because the jaw has run out of room. The tooth may come in sideways, pushing against the roots of adjacent teeth. It may remain partially embedded in the gum, creating a pocket where bacteria accumulate. In severe cases, it can damage neighboring molars, cause cysts, or produce chronic infections. For a large portion of the modern human population, the standard response is surgical removal, a procedure performed on roughly 5 million people per year in the United States alone. This was not always the case. Archaeological analysis of pre-agricultural skulls from hunter-gatherer populations who ate diets that included large quantities of hard, fibrous, minimally processed foods shows dramatically lower rates of dental crowding and wisdom tooth impaction. Skulls from these populations typically have jaws broad enough to accommodate all 32 teeth without significant crowding. The problem is modern. It correlates precisely with the transition from hunter-gatherer diets to agricultural ones about 12,000 years ago. And it has accelerated significantly in the last several centuries as food processing has made modern diets softer still. Stanford researchers documented this in a 2020 analysis that described a jaw shrinkage epidemic, a progressive reduction in jaw size driven not by genetic change, but by developmental response to diet. Human genetics has not changed meaningfully in the last 12,000 years. What has changed is what those genes are building in response to. The jaw your DNA specifies is built for a hard diet. The jaw your body actually produces is shaped by your food environment. The mismatch between those two jaws is the wisdom tooth problem. There is a broader picture here that goes beyond wisdom teeth. The human face has been shrinking for thousands of years. Relative to overall body size, modern human skulls are smaller-faced than those of our recent ancestors. The orbits are shallower. The brow ridge is reduced, the midface is flatter, and the jaw is narrower. Some of this reflects genuine genetic change over long time periods. The gradual reduction of heavy, bony facial architecture that was adaptive when raw food required enormous bite force. But the recent acceleration is behavioral rather than genetic. It is the jaw building itself for the food environment it actually encounters, not the food environment its genes were shaped by. This matters beyond dentistry. A smaller jaw means a narrower airway. Narrower airways are associated with sleep apnea, breathing difficulty during sleep, and a range of upper airway conditions that are substantially more common in industrialized populations than in groups that maintain harder traditional diets. The jaw shrinkage that makes wisdom teeth problematic is part of a larger developmental pattern that affects breathing, sleep, and craniofacial health in ways that are only beginning to be studied systematically. Evolution did not ruin your jaw. Your jaw is following its developmental instructions precisely. The problem is that those instructions evolved for a food environment that no longer exists. Your genes specify a jaw sized for wild tubers and raw game. Your childhood provided bread and soft-cooked vegetables. The jaw that emerged is the right jaw for the food environment you grew up in. Smaller than the blueprint anticipated. The wisdom teeth are the blueprint's remnant, arriving on schedule in a space that the developmental process left too small to fit them. The fix for most people is a surgeon with an extraction forceps. The evolutionary fix, if the mismatch persists long enough and consistently enough, would be a genetic reduction in the number of wisdom teeth coded by the genome. That process appears to already be underway. The percentage of people born with fewer than 4 wisdom teeth has been increasing across human populations, most rapidly in populations with the longest histories of agriculture and processed food. Agenesis, the complete genetic absence of a wisdom tooth, is becoming more common. Evolution is slow. Your jaw and your wisdom teeth are living at the intersection between the ancient and the modern, and the ancient is not quite done fitting in.